acting is not pretending. The greatest performances in Hollywood history were never simply performances. They were sacrifices. Some actors gave so much to a role, they couldn't find their way back. The world called it genius. Nobody asked what it cost. We celebrate performances, we study them, quote them, watch them again. But we rarely ask the question that matters most. What did it take to get there? Today, we count down 10 roles. That didn't just define careers, they nearly ended them. Some of these stories you think you know. You don't. Not the full version. Number 10. What happens when an actor built on laughter suddenly has nothing left to laugh about? By 1998, Jim Carrey was the highest paid comedian on the planet. The Mask, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. He was untouchable. Then Peter Weir offered him a film with almost no jokes. A film about a man who doesn't know his entire life is a performance. To play Truman, Carrey had to strip away everything that had made him famous. No rubber face, no physical comedy. Just a man slowly realizing the world he trusted wasn't real. And in preparing for that, something cracked. He later described falling into a depression so profound he could barely function. The themes of the film stopped being the character's story. They became his. A life controlled by unseen forces. A performance that never ends. A smile that hides everything. He emerged from it a different man. Whether that was a destruction or an evolution, only he can say. All because the role asked him to become exactly what he had spent his whole career running from. Number 9. What you are about to hear is not a rumor. It is documented medical fact, and it should not have been possible. Christian Bale dropped his body weight from 83 kilograms to 55. He reportedly wanted to go lower. The production stopped him. He survived on 1 can of tuna and an apple per day for months. Co-workers on set reportedly couldn't look directly at him. To play a character defined by hollowness, he made himself hollow. The performance left lasting effects on his body that he has acknowledged in interviews since. But here is the detail that still astonishes people. Immediately after finishing The Machinist, Bale was cast as Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins. He had 6 months to gain over 45 kilograms of muscle. He did it. Nobody has satisfactorily explained how. All because he believed a role was worth whatever it took, and then proved it twice, in opposite directions, for the same film. Number 8. There are some entries on this list where the actor survived. This one is different. Heath Ledger was 28 years old. An Oscar nomination, his entire career ahead of him. When Christopher Nolan cast him as the Joker, nobody believed it would work. Ledger set out to prove them wrong in the most complete way possible. He locked himself in a hotel room for 6 weeks, alone. He kept a diary written in the voice of the Joker. He studied chaos, anarchy, the psychology of men with no moral framework. He barely slept. He told interviewers he would lie awake at night, unable to switch it off. The Joker had settled in somewhere he couldn't reach. Heath Ledger died on January 22, 2008. 6 months before The Dark Knight was released. He was 28 years old. He never saw the finished film. He never knew the response it would receive. At the 81st Academy Awards, his family accepted the Oscar on his behalf. The entire auditorium stood. There was no celebration. Only acknowledgement of what had been given, and at what cost. all because he gave everything he had to a character who had nothing left to lose. Number 7. He arrived on set 40 kilograms overweight. He hadn't read the script. He had shaved his head, and the director said nothing, because what Marlon Brando gave them was terrifying in exactly the right way. Brando refused to speak scripted lines. He improvised. He muttered. He walked in and out of shadow. Coppola, already on the edge of a nervous breakdown from the production's disasters, simply pointed the camera. The documentary about the making of Apocalypse Now shows what the production cost everyone. Coppola broke down on camera. His wife filmed him crying, saying he didn't know if the film would work. Brando, meanwhile, had descended into something private, something fellow actors described as genuinely frightening. The line between performing and being had dissolved. The film became one of the greatest ever made. Brando's Kurtz, barely 20 minutes on screen, is its most haunting presence. Whether the role destroyed something in him or simply revealed something already there, nobody has ever answered. All because some performances can't be contained. They consume the space around them. Number 6. She was playing a woman losing her grip on reality. The cruel truth is, she wasn't entirely acting. Vivien Leigh had been diagnosed with what we now call bipolar disorder. By the time she took on Blanche Dubois, the role's themes of fragility, delusion, and the terror of losing one's mind were not entirely foreign to her. Her co-stars and the director later admitted they never quite knew which moments were performance and which were genuine distress. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress. The performance is still studied in acting schools worldwide, but Leigh described the experience as one of the most destabilizing of her career. The role required her to go somewhere she found difficult to return from. Her marriage to Laurence Olivier eventually ended. She died at 53. The performance lives on. The woman behind it was never entirely the same, all because the role found the wound she had spent years learning to hide. Number 5. Before filming began, Roman Polanski gave Adrien Brody a list: give up your apartment, sell your car, cut off contact with your friends, learn to play Chopin. Brody did all of it. Then he lost 14 kilograms on top of everything else. The role was Władysław Szpilman, a Jewish-Polish pianist who survived the Warsaw Ghetto by hiding alone in a destroyed city while everyone he loved was taken. Polanski himself had survived the Krakow Ghetto as a child. This was not just a film. It was a testimony. And he needed an actor who understood what it meant to have nothing left. By the time Brody arrived on set, he was not performing hunger or loneliness. He was reporting what he felt. The result is one of the most internally transparent performances in cinema history. You see exactly what a man looks like when he has nothing left, because the man on screen had nothing left. All because Polanski knew that some roles cannot be researched, they have to be lived. Number 4. She trained for a year. She dislocated a rib. She lost 9 kilograms. She had a near breakdown in the final weeks of filming, and none of that is the most disturbing part. Black Swan is about a dancer pushing herself toward perfection until she loses her mind. Darren Aronofsky needed an actress who could make that disintegration feel real. Not simulated. Real. Portman described moments during filming where the psychological themes of the script stopped feeling like character work. The paranoia. The perfectionism. The terror of being replaced. Started feeling personal. The film's central question, How much of yourself do you destroy in the pursuit of being perfect? Was one she found herself asking off camera too. All because the line between playing a breakdown and having one is thinner than anyone warned her. Number 3. He trained as a boxer for a year. Not acting training, real boxing. He fought professional bouts. By the time cameras rolled, his hands were weapons. His co-stars were not entirely safe. He broke a co-star's ribs during filming, by accident. The director kept the take. Then, for the scenes depicting LaMotta's later years, De Niro flew to France. He ate. For 4 months. He gained approximately 30 kilograms. He returned looking like a different human being. Scorsese was reportedly shocked when he saw him. The transformation is not special effects. It is not prosthetics. It is a man who did this to his body twice, in opposite directions, for the same role. All because he believed that if the audience could feel it, the actor had to have lived it first. Number 2. One single scene required 127 takes. 127. By the end of it, Shelley Duvall's hair was falling out from stress. Stanley Kubrick's response was to keep filming. Kubrick believed that an actor's personal suffering produced superior results. For Shelley Duvall, this belief had consequences that lasted long after filming ended. He systematically isolated her from the rest of the cast and crew. He told them not to comfort her. He berated her during takes, not because the performance was wrong, but because he believed her genuine distress produced something acting alone couldn't. She developed stress-related physical symptoms throughout the shoot. She has since described the experience as trauma. The role is one of the most authentically terrified performances in horror cinema. The terror is real. Kubrick made sure of it, all because one director decided that her suffering was worth more than her well-being. And the film is extraordinary, and the price should never have been paid. Number 1. He weighed 52 kilograms. He developed a laugh, not written in the script, that he trained himself to produce involuntarily. He described moments during filming where he genuinely didn't know if what he was feeling was the character's madness or his own. And what he created is the most decorated villain performance in the history of cinema. Joaquin Phoenix was already one of the finest actors of his generation. Walk the Line, Her, The Master. Each role had required commitment. None had required this. He lost 23 kilograms to reach 52. He described the physical starvation as doing something to his psychology he hadn't expected. A real fragility. A sense of being not entirely anchored to himself. You are not watching an actor who researched a breakdown. You are watching a man who was, to some degree, genuinely breaking down. The laugh was Phoenix's own invention. He researched pseudobulbar affect, a real neurological condition causing uncontrollable laughing or crying, regardless of how the person actually feels. He practiced inducing it in himself. By the time he arrived on set, he could trigger it on cue. Robert De Niro, himself on this very list, reportedly found it unsettling to be in the same room with during takes. Joker became the first R-rated film to gross over $1 billion worldwide. Phoenix won the Academy Award for Best Actor. His acceptance speech felt like an extension of the performance. And then, he said something in interviews that nobody expected. After filming ended, he felt grief. Not because the character had died, but because Arthur Fleck had been more real to him for longer than perhaps any other version of himself he'd inhabited. Leaving the role felt like losing someone. All because the greatest performances don't end when the cameras stop. They stay. Long after the lights go out. Every actor on this list crossed a line. Some chose to, some were pushed, some didn't realize they'd crossed it until they were already on the other side. Jim Carrey found the character mirrored a darkness he hadn't named. Christian Bale made his body disappear. Twice. Heath Ledger found a character he couldn't leave in the room. Marlon Brando dissolved the line between performance and being. Vivian Leigh played a breakdown while living one. Adrian Brody gave up everything he owned to understand what it felt like to have nothing. Natalie Portman asked how far was too far and kept going anyway. Robert De Niro destroyed and rebuilt his body for the same role. Shelley Duvall paid a price nobody asked her permission to charge. And Joaquin Phoenix grieved a character the way you grieve a person. These weren't just performances. They were the places these people went to that the rest of us never have to go. And we watched from the safety of a cinema seat. Which makes us the audience and makes them something else entirely. Which performance still stays with you? Leave it in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.